This is fair use, fair use. I do not get paid or benefit from none of these videos. According to the Act 1976 Act, this is only for educational purposes only. So, thank you.
An urgent investigation to determine how 18-year-old Nolan Wells died on a boating trip with friends off the Mississippi Gulf Coast. As they await the results of the official autopsy, the Jackson County Sheriff's Office wants to hear from anyone who was on Horn Island over the 4th of July weekend.
I would urge anyone that had information or was on the island to let us interview you and take down as much information as we can to really piece together and figure out what may have happened.
Authorities say Wells' friends left the island and he stayed behind and was supposed to take a different boat back to the mainland Saturday, but never did. After a desperate search, Wells' body was found off the shore Monday. Investigators say they have no information at this time to indicate a crime was committed. And this morning, for the first time, we're seeing and hearing from Wells, who spoke with our affiliate WLOX on the day he signed to play college football.
It's truly a blessing, just being here with some of my best friends, teammates, and we're all going to college together, most of us, so it's just truly a blessing to be here.
His high school coach saying Wells was much more than an outstanding football player and that he carried himself with humility, treated others with respect, worked hard, and led by example. The teenager's emotional family, desperate for answers, they've hired civil rights attorney Ben Crump, who says his team will conduct an independent investigation.
And the family's new attorney, Ben Crump, says he will fight for the timely release of any records and witness accounts in this.
Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all glory and praises to my power, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakahach. Double honor to the apostles and elders and bishops of Great Millstone that rule well and taught us his truth. Shalom to the elect, scattered the four corners of the earth. And this is your brother Nakah. Come back with another edifying lesson, Lord willing, as well as be as exalting. And you see this situation going on that's buzzing the news, I would like to chime on it. You see what I'm saying? As is just for edification's sake, is to show you that it's important to have apostles, teachers, and men of the Lord for guidance. You see what I'm saying? And also to fear the Lord, you see? Because once you come into this knowledge of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, you move with more wisdom, you make more certain decisions, Granted, we gonna take out the part that it was a so-called, there was Edomites and they probably just killed them. They probably got drunk, high and killed them. It's jealousy, nice looking young man in shape. This young man was going to college and everything. And I see the picture of him and his boys. So supposedly those boys. Now, we don't know the full truth or anything, but the main part is these dudes still at home with no investigation. Now, I always said that it was opposite. Man, no, it was three Jake boys and one so-called Edomite boy, something like that. Them Jake boys would have been in jail and on trial right now. But I'm going to get Habakkuk, chapter 1, verse 4. I want to start off with that. Therefore the law is slacked, and the judgment doth not go forth. For the wicked doth get passed by the righteous, but therefore wrong judgment proceedeth. You see, so I'm using this as a monetary term because the law is slacked here. You see what I'm saying? It's favoritism in this system. All that they talking about, he supposed to catch a boat back to the mainland. He didn't show up. Like, are you serious? Yeah. But the one thing I wanted to say, drugs, and it seemed like, anger, or when somebody on their low life or like having hard times will reveal how they really feel about you. And that's the truth. You see what I'm saying? Now, we understand that this was ordained by the Heavenly Father, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, because I have to always mention that. You see what I'm saying? Because it was ordained for this Nola kid was supposed to, be taken out that way. Zephaniah chapter 3, verse 5. The just Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai is in the midst thereof. He will not do iniquity, Every morning doth he will bring his judgment to light. He faileth not, but the unjust know of no shame. And as you can see, judgment was occurred by Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. So we have to constantly have that fear, you see what I'm saying, in your mindset. You see, when things like this start, happening and going on, because, it seemed like our people, I'm telling you, Jakes, you'll put your guard down when it's to the other nations, but to your own, you got your guard up, you being more circumspect. You see what I'm saying? But like I said, you have to put yourself in certain scenarios. You see what I'm saying? Let's get Proverbs chapter 1, verse 7. Because like I said, using that wisdom and being circumspect and understanding with the times that we are in and how the tension is going out there in the world. And this, I'm not just saying for this situation, I'm talking about for general and how you should move in a everyday life. Proverbs chapter 1, verse 7, the fear of the Lord, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and instructions. You see? So as people just keep and knowing the men of the Lord and the prophets that he has sent, from his own heart. You see, it's what Jeremiah 3 and 15. Jeremiah chapter 3, verse 15. And I will give you pastors according to my heart, which shall feed you with knowledge and understanding. So if these young men would have heard about the Hebrew Israelites and followed the right men to teach him, and give him knowledge, he would have probably survived that day. Survive another day. There's one scripture I always think about. It's in Matthew chapter 6. Every single time. Matthew chapter 6, always down. Verse 34. Take therefore no thought for tomorrow, for tomorrow should take thought for the things of itself. Signify unto the day its evil thereof. So taking it day by day and fearing Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua and praying. You see what I'm saying? And that's one thing. Praying is very key. Let's go to 1 Peter chapter 4 and verse, I think it's Salakia 4 and 7. But the end of all things is at hand. Be ye therefore sober and watch unto prayer. I'm going to get this word sober, because this situation is really, far-fetched. We already know what really happened. But I'm saying for your everyday walk, because we really have enemies out here. And a lot of you walk around that people don't really don't like us. That's just a color thing. It's more than a color thing. It goes back beyond. It goes from the beginning, perpetual hatred, which I have another video, I'm going to do on that type of subject. So this is so sober.
Strong's G 4993. Sophroneo.
To be a sound man, to be one's right man, to exercise self-control, to put a moderate estimate upon oneself, think of oneself soberly, to curb one's passion. You got the strong definition, sound mind, to be in the right mind. So you have to be right-minded. You just can't never let your guard down, especially around the people who want to come attack you, because in the next chapter, 1 Peter 5 and 8, it tells you this: be sober, be with a sound mind, and understand who's around you. Be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, as a wrong line, walk about seeking whom he may devour, And this one thing that these damn devils, they conjure up things daily, what they want to do, because this is who they are. You see what I'm saying? They have to do some wickedness daily to satisfy that itch. You see? So to Micah chapter 2. And at the first verse, woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it, because it's in the power of the hand. So these damn demons probably planned that. Now, the auto trust hasn't come out yet. You see what I'm saying? So we just jump into a narrative. But, at the clearer picture, come on now. Why would you let your friend come back by himself. Anybody with a man like, you know what, nah, bro, we gonna wait on you to make sure you're good. You see what I'm saying? We're gonna all go back, drop you off, and then we gonna continue to be on the water. Things like that could have went that way. But anyway, as I got those pointers out, this is why it's important to have men in leadership and to tell you and give you this knowledge and wisdom. I brought that up earlier. Ephesians 4. I'm just using, I'm gonna say it again. I'm using this video as a example and demonstration how you should move. Ephesians chapter 4, verse 11. Because remember, I read to you Jeremiah 30:15. Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushua gave us teachers according to his heart. You see what I'm saying? This is Ephesians chapter 4, verse 11. He gave some apostles and some prophets and some evangelists and some pastors and teachers for the perfecting of the saints, for the work of the ministry, for the edifying of the body of a Mashiach. You see? So he gave you leaders to guide your spirit and how you should move in everyday life. You see? But when you're missing out on that knowledge, you tend to fall, Let's go to Proverbs 14, verse 27. Proverbs chapter 14, verse 27. The fear of the Lord, Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushua, is the foundation of life, and to depart from snares of death. You see? Once you fear Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushua, you come into this knowledge, you have more understanding, then you start moving differently. As in they say, you put on wisdom, as in like on your neck. I'm going to get that. That's in the book of Sirach, chapter 6, verse 24. You see? But let's get this on the book of Sirach 33, verse 1. It's showing you that the constant fear will have you, second-guessing things. Book of Sirach, chapter 33, verse 1. There should no evil happen unto him that feareth the Lord, Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahushua. But in temptation ever again, he will deliver him. You see what I'm saying? So, if you fear Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushua, he will deliver you out of certain situations and keep you safe. You see? And that's the main thing that a lot of our people, he seems like he's a Jake. I seen his father. He like he a Jake. You see what I'm saying? But a lot of our people tends to know the signs, because, most of these type of friend groups could be aggressive, saying, nah, we just joking around, dude. Take a joke, man. But your whole time, they really plotting on you because they're jealous of you. Now, I know I'm kind of everywhere, but that's the spirit. But I want to get Deuteronomy 32, verse 7. Remember the days of old, consider the years of many generation. Ask thy father, and he will show thee, thy elders, and they will tell thee. And this is what I'm talking about when he say, I give you pastors according to my heart. When they're back in Jeremiah 3:15 and Ephesians 4. Because he would have had this knowledge and understanding. He would have known that, I'm going to stay away from that. They probably was drinking, partying. These damn fucking Edomites be coked up, head-butting walls and shit. You got to understand, man. You cannot always be, tangled up with them. You see? But, yeah, he always gives you, I'm trying to go to next. Yeah, like I said, Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushua, he speak through men. Now, I'm going to go to the book of Sirach 6, because I called for that earlier too. I'm going to close it out. It ain't meant to be too long. I want to get it in the GNT version though. Ephesians. No, what I'm doing. The book of Sirach. Six 24 GNT. It should pop up. All right, here we go. There's a certain one I want to get. And also, I believe in 34 on down, too. So this is the book of Sirach 6. Hold on, where the rest of it at? Or am I tripping? Hold on. What's going on? I'm just going to here. I thought it was more scriptures than that. Maybe I'm 6. Okay. I don't know why. And how the rest of it. But this is the book of Sirach, chapter 6, verse 24. I'm going to start at 22. For wisdom is according to her name, and she is not manifested to many. Give ear, my son, receive my advice, and refuse not my counsel. And put thy feet in her feathers, and thy neck to her chain, and bow down thy shoulder, and bear her, and be not grieved with her bonds. Because wisdom put you in the straits for you to make certain decisions. Like, should I go out today? Or maybe this ain't the best idea to put myself in a situation to have fun. I'm going to just go ahead and chill. Or we could have a house party. Or he could even brought another type of friend that he kind of trusts. Now, that's that situation. I'm just showing, I'm just trying to give you wisdom and advice how to actually move so you can avoid these type of situations. First, start with the fear of the Lord, Proverbs 1:7. The fear of the Lord, increases, that's when wisdom and knowledge start increasing. Once you fear the Lord, Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushua. Book of Sirach, chapter 6, verse 27. Search and seek, and she should be made known unto you. And when thou hast got hold of her, let her not go. That's that wisdom. For at last thou shalt find her rest, and thou shalt be turned to joy. Then shall her feathers be strong defense for thee, her chains of robe of glory. Yeah, because once you start applying wisdom to certain situations, you start making more wise decisions. And we all been in that predicament. You know what? Is it wise for me to do this or do that? You start thinking like, how would this affect me in my walk? One thing I like to say, how should I do this? You see what I'm saying? And that's how you want to start making decisions. Rash decisions, man, could be your last. And Lord willing, how about Shemi Awashai? Keep that spirit on us, because at the end of the day, he controls it all. Because there's a reason why his spirit got up there to go on a boat with them. Let's get Jeremiah chapter 10, verse 23. There's also Proverbs 20:24 also. Jeremiah chapter 10, verse 23. O Lord, Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushua, I know that the way of men is not in himself. It is not in man that walketh to direct his steps. O Lord, Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushua, correct me, but with judgment, not in thy anger, lest thou bring me to nothing. Pour out the fury upon the heathen that know thee not, and upon the families that call not on thy name. For they have eaten up Jacob and devoured him, and consumed him, and have made his habitation desolate. You see, so when we go off, we want correction of judgment. We don't want to have the fury and his indignation of Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushua. We want to be corrected so we can offend less, So that's one thing that putting on wisdom, is what keeps us, guided, call on the names and not walking, upon on this earth, and fall into the ways of the Babylonian style. This is the book of Sirach, chapter 6, verse 31. Thou shalt put her on as a robe for honor, and shalt put her about thee as a crown of joy. My son, if thou wilt, thou shalt be taught, and if thou wilt apply thy mind, thou shalt be prudent. If thou love to hear, thou shalt receive understanding. If thou bound thy ear, thou shalt be wise. And this is a point I talk about the elders and the apostles, right? And the teachers, standing in the multitude of the elders, and cleave unto him that is wise. Be willing to hear every godly discourse, and let not the parables of understanding escape thee. If thou seest a man understanding, get thee betimes unto him, and let thy foot wear the steps of his doors. Let thy mind be upon the ordinance of the Lord Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahushua, and meditate continually in his commandments. He shall establish thy heart and give thee wisdom at thy own desires. So the main point of this video is using Noel video is how you should move in your everyday life. Because like I said, we have really enemies out here. Everything is not sugar and rainbows, man, because, when I say rainbow, I'm talking the rainbow of this world, because the rainbow is beautiful. You see what I'm saying? Because the Heavenly Father, he loves a rainbow. But this world demonizes a rainbow. Just to put that out there. Because, you got a Big Mama putting your mindset that everybody loves everybody and nobody hates nobody, But we have real enemies out here. That's why I say be circumspect and vigilant. But that last part I read to you in the book of Sirach 6:37, I'm going to read it again. Then I'm going to close out with Ecclesiastes 12:13. Let that mind be upon the ordinance of the Lord Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, and meditate continually in his commandments. He shall establish thine heart and give thee wisdom at thy own desire. Right? We'll close out with this one because it always go back to what? To that fear. That's that root. Ecclesiastes 12:13. Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear the Most High Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. For the Most High shall bring every work into judgment, and every single thing, whether it be good or whether it be evil. So we want to be judged accordingly in the spirit in our everyday life. And Lord willing, that we walk on the straight path. You don't want to fall the judgment of the hands of the Lord. Because if he had to step in, he had to judge you. It ain't going to be pretty, as you got an example. But, yeah. Lord willing, you find us edifying, and you got something from it, I'm going to close it out. I want to give all glory and praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah HaKodash. Shalom.